Hey, what's going on? Y'all back with another one, back with another one. Let's talk about socialism again. All right, let me get set up for real quick. Let me get set up real quick. I know this is I got some links for y'all. It's gonna be like an hour. Because normally I do them like 2 hours, whatever. Let's see, everybody's extended. This is gonna be an hour. This ain't no entertainment or anything. Let me get squared away. Okay. Oh, I didn't set it up. All right, good. Political done normally. Edit my settings real quick. All right, let's talk about socialism. Okay, we got socialism with the philosophy basics. It's coming up real quick. Sorry about y'all's a little late. A little late. But I can make up for that. Shit. There's a lot of things fucking going on. Who is this? I'm just looking at this bullshit right here. It's a long time. Uh-oh. And the likes. All right. Yeah. All right. So basically, when we talk about socialism in context, I think I did a couple of streams on socialism. I didn't go in depth on them or anything. I'm just out here, talking about it. And then we're going to reintroduction about the social economic system. And then we're going to talk about is socialism exist in this country or not? Basically what I'm saying is like, do we have a problem in that? To be honest with you, it's a combination of both. It's just what it is. And I'm just looking at it like, okay, I know everybody's not really up on it right now at the moment. I'm just going to cut this down real quick because I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to leave it off for now. Oh, shit. Okay. I'm going to leave this phone off right now. Frequency is high. And it's pissing me off right now because I got my goddamn headsets falling fucking apart. But that's okay. Let me do something real quick. Oh, it's getting ridiculous. If I had a studio, it'd be nice, but you gotta learn to live what you got. Some things will never change, but one mic line and switching. But I'm gonna probably switch off in a minute. We'll see what I got over here. Cause I always use two channels, but just in case. Just in case. Just in case. I got this wire right here. Okay. We're gonna talk about it. But we're gonna get into it. So normally, what's going on, Degenerate? What's going on? What's going on? Salute, salute. Yeah. I ain't posted up the stream yet. I'll share it later. So I'm so behind right now. All right. Chrome. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. I'm gonna put myself on here, maximize it. And GTA San Andreas in the background. Yeah, I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna get hit. Okay. Here we go. The introduction. We'll reintroduce again. I talked about this recently, like last year, and I'm gonna go in depth on the other link that I put up and see what we're gonna talk about. Just give y'all the basis what I'm standing right here. I'm not gonna go into the history of it because y'all know about Plato and things like that. I'm gonna fast forward to this, read this part right here. Socialism is socialism is a socio-economic system in which property and distribution of wealth are subject to control by the workers, either directly through their collectives, such as workers' councils, or indirectly exercised on the behalf of the people by the state, and in which egalitarianism or equal is an important goal. Thus, under social means of production are owned by the state, community, or the workers, as opposed to privately owned as under capitalism. Now, I did talk about egalitarianism. Um, I don't think I have playlists for it, but it's on the political streams and things like that. Y'all can check out. It's pretty much the same, but just be mindful. That's just at its thesis, right? Because those political streams, I think I did. What was it? The political world systems. What were we talking about? Egalitarianism. Egalitarianism. It's right under. Did I do part one? Egalitarianism. I did part two. You can check that out. It was several months ago, and then I did one in part one. Talk about egalitarianism. So egalitarianism is another one. I did. It was a 2 hour stream. Y'all can check that out on the same. And I put this on the same folder. Y'all can check Soul playlist. I talk about political stuff. So normally egalitarianism is the opposite of, but it's an extenuation of a little bit of socialism, but it all came form of what you would say a utilitarian society. Now, some societies in America, some states are utilitarian, some are fascist. It's like a bit of both. But capitalism really doesn't exist. That's just a thing that in other areas you practice capitalism all the time, but 9 out of 10 they lean towards the fascism at the end of the day. But that's a whole nother topic on that. But that's the common argument that people use. But this is the introduction they talk about. The adherents of socialism are splitting into different, sometimes opposing branches, particularly between reformists and revolutionaries. As usually what it is, you got reformists and revolutionaries. Some of them used to be criminals, some used to be everyday people, and they turn up being as rebels or revolutionaries, of course, which they don't exist anymore. They all become reformists, and it's a split. It's constantly in agencies. You see it every day. And some of these are briefly described in the types of socialism section below. The term socialism is variously attributed to Pierre Leroux, 1798, 1871, or to Marie Roch Louis Raybaud, 1799, 1879, or to Robert Owen, 1771, 1858. In the mid 19th century, according to Frederick Engels, 1820, 1895, y'all know where I'm going, is it's all form of liberalism equals to what? Utilitarianism. All right. By 1847, the term socialism, usually referring to the utopian philosophies of Robert Owen and Charles Fourier, 1770, 1770 to 1837, French philosophers, by the way, French utopian philosophers, was considered quite respectable on the continent of Europe, while communism was the opposite. And that's the introduction of it. Y'all already know the history. Y'all seen this before. I talk about Marxism and things like that. I will put this in the chat, and we're gonna get on the nitty gritty of it. So it's just a brief, synopsis of it, and it's pretty much the same. So you get into it, and you just be like that. What's going on, Leticia? And we just get that synopsis in. Did I paste it? Damn. Why you don't let me paste that? Let's go on, Toya. But it's pretty much it, but that's socialism in its purest form. So we're gonna stop that right there, and we're gonna talk about, we're gonna fast forward into the things that we talked about. And she says she has a question. Okay, what's your question? Let's see. They said opinion surprise, surprise. The US is a socialist country. Okay. That's Alabama. This is somebody's opinion, so we're gonna back out and I'm gonna click on more. So okay, let me big up the screen real quick. All right. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Opinion, surprise, surprise. U.S. is a socialist country. This is by Larry Lee. He's Alabama. This is like last year, May 13, 2021. Okay, he posted this. Okay, we the people. Every day you hear another politician decry socialism as something dark and wicked and to be avoided. But the truth is, most of them don't know what socialism is to them. I mean, socialism is. To them, it's just another buzzword that gets citizens and riled up, and they never stop to think or know so little history to learn the truth. Its core, socialism is when a society does things for the common good, which was exactly exactly what it was done when 13 colonies promised to join forces to benefit one another, and this country was born. Talking about liberalism, that's what basically socialism was birthed out of. So when it says the common good, you'll hear terms like utilitarianism that I talk about on this channel. That's what they preach in this country. Most people don't really care for that. They prefer to be nihilistic and go extreme. But that's a whole nother topic. Okay. Examples are everywhere. A volunteer fire department is socialism in action. So is a school, whether citizens with no children in school pay taxes to educate the children of others. Taking up a collection in church to help a family whose house burned down is socialism. And what he just said right there makes sense. That's some liberalism right there. Okay. And when it comes to the states that benefit from socialism, Alabama is right near the top of the list. Only New Mexico and West Virginia have greater differences in which citizens sends Washington. What they get into the return than Alabama. For every $1 Alabama gives to Washington, we get $2 in return. It's a close look at the answers every day. How this country was founded on socialist ideals continues so to this day. It's a little socialist at the time, but that's the past. You know how it is. Socialism has been feared and ridiculed by Americans for over hundreds of years, and yet the United States of America was founded in socialism and continues as a socialist nation today. But socialism cannot be avoided and should not be feared because it has made a country strong. Okay, we're gonna get to this part. I gotta step away real quick. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, y'all. I'm back, y'all. So, yes, the United States have always been born as socialists, although there is no university except definition for socialism. Most definitions agree to the resources are used for the common good. For the United States was founded upon the principle of 13 former colonies working together for mutual defense and the benefit of the Confidential Congress, formally closed by name United States of America on September 9th, 1776, a little more than 2 months after the delegates to the Congress signed the Declaration of Independence. So there, right there, I talked about this a lot. It's pretty much it. Let's see what she said. The site. Um, what she say right here? She said, "What's the other streaming site you use?" I use Restream. Yeah, I use Restream. This is like I use StreamYards as well. Yeah, if you're looking for those, yeah, that's what you're looking for. I used to use that until I went with this. This is more convenient until I get another account for that one or something in the future. But this one I'm doing right now. So yeah, I talked about this a lot in every stream about egalitarianism and socialism a little bit. And the reason I didn't go in depth on socialism because it's already been used several times. So you know what I mean? So all right, y'all give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Yeah, but the reason I didn't talk about it as much, um, I would say Restream's a little cheaper if you do the standard. Um, I think I paid like 190 for mine's, but I think that's like I did it for a year, so it's a little different. But StreamYards is a little pricey, so you gotta be careful with that. I mean, they got some options too, but this one's a little cheaper, so I went with the cheap route. But they made some improvements, but you can grow from this. But anyways, I'm gonna stick with the topic. So yeah, the reason I don't talk about socialism so much in certain spaces, people gonna be biased on certain viewpoints and think it's negative and all that stuff. It has its pros and cons because you do have a lot of fascistic people in the world and a lot of nihilistic people as well that disrupt socialism. You don't have a real true social society. Now, I'm not teaching communism and things like that, but see, people don't know what communism is and don't even realize y'all practice utilitarian ideals. That's why you got all these ass backward laws sometimes, and then it can be fascistic when it comes to corporations. But I'm not gonna get into that. That's a whole nother sphere. I can do a whole talk about what fascism is. America has a lot of fascistic law behaviors. They pretend they're socialist and utilitarian every now and then, but in reality, they're more fascist than you think. So I don't put past a country that betrays its own people every now and then. There's a lot of hypocrisy in some of this. Now, this link is pretty good. I'm going to give this to you because it's about the Alabama political reporter. He was talking about it, and I thought this was an interesting read, and it's a good read. And so I'm not really tripping off of anything right now. So we'll get this other one hooked up. So I'll set this right here for a minute. Start reading with the other one. So it is pretty much the same. A lot of people they just get caught up and they do things, whatever. And yeah, we'll read this next part. The Continental Congress covered from September 5th, October 26, 74, but the colonies have not yet declared independence from Great Britain, but they passed a compact authorizing a trade boycott against Great Britain. This was the first socialist act of what would become the government of the United States by regulating the trade for the colonies. The Continental Congress are asserted that the common needs of the people outweigh the needs and the desires of individuals, such as merchants and their employees. And that's kind of true in the Revolutionary War, but it's a little complicated than that. It spilled a lot of blood. Other history examples has proved that. I talked about it a lot on several streams y'all can hear. During the War of Independence, the Continental Congress authorized the raising and support of Continental Army, Navy. Congress issues currency, took on debt, and requisitioned the supplies and the equipment from various states, and paid salaries. These socialist measures were not popular and often result in individual states interfering with the overriding congressional mandates to not confidential, but continental officers were sometimes drafted into the state militias, but local officials often refused to enforce congressional requisitions. But the Continental Congress also passed the Articles of the Confederates in 1771, but the states only ratified but give them the weight of the constitutional laws in 1781. But the Articles created a weak central government, but the Congress had authority over international relations in the Postal Service. But under the Articles of the Confederation, the Congress set aside land of the public used in each state. But the Congress assumed the control over westward expansion of the nation into the frontier territories and established regulations for surveying and settling frontier lands. That's true. They bought and sold lands after they defeated the British in the Revolution, and that's what happened. Things changed. Constitution of the United States of America was ratified on June 21st, 1788. It is established as a framework for the current federal government consisting of three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial branch. Three branches. You heard that? Legislative, that's law. Executive, that's like the highest in power, financial, executive. Judicial is the court system. Judicial system ain't shit, but we ain't gonna get into that. I'm joking. I'm just gonna get in there. Well, I ain't joking. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the judicial system. It's corrupt anyway. Everybody know went down the drain. Article 1, Section 8 conferred upon the Congress all authority to regulate money and commerce and postal service and roads, patents and copyrights and state militias issues and pay debt, and to raise taxes to pay for the federal government expenses. These were all socialist policies codified into constitutional law. But the federal government passed the funding of the Act 1790, by which the federal government assumed all responsibilities for the state's unpaid obligations from the War for Independence. And the years when the Articles of the Confederations were in force, the law authorized the Department of the Treasury to issue the first United States Treasury securities, replace the bonds issued by states. So it's pretty much we talk about federal government and law in states, and like it says, man, that's basically what this country's so-called founded for. But in reality, fascism overtook them, and corporations got the best of them, right? So it's pretty much you understand how this country really works now, instead, in the past. You can't live in the 18th century type world mindset, expect people to change. Most people won't change in time. You know what I'm saying? But most people don't understand that's how the world really worked back then. But things changed when corporations and after slavery came, after slavery passed, things got more corrupted over time. The ideals of socialism went out the window. But even though they practiced some form of utilitarianism, fundamental equals to socialism, under that umbrella, birthed a lot of this stuff. And the ideals is utilitarian, by the way, equals socialism. I'm just going to break that down. And it's because the greatest happiness of the greatest number has always been that principle in socialism as well. They always talk about happiness for others. Keyword others. That's what we're talking about. But that's a whole nother topics and things like that. I just want to just show you this article and then read this part right here. Just a moment. I'm just gonna say appreciate the likes though. Shouts out to everybody that came through. And it's just like it's more and more we see every day. Okay. Okay. Harold Washington, we spoke on the last time I was on here. Yeah, yeah. He's let me see about him. Let me see about him. I've let me see. Did I have him on my conservative? I think he's on Harold Washington. Harold Washington. Do I have him? I might have to. I might have to. I might have to find him again. Might have him on another folder. Libertarian. Fuck. Harold Washington. Yeah, I spoke on him the last time. Yeah, yeah, I'll speak on him a little later. Yeah, I don't have him in my tab or my folder. So I'm gonna research him. Hold on for a minute, and I'm just gonna take this off for a minute. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's 26 minutes in. Yeah, we're gonna talk. This ain't no open discussion or anything. This is just a straight to refresh people's memories. So I'm just gonna put this out here. But pretty much, like I said, with socialism, we just I'm just on here talking about it, and I don't go in depth like it always. It's no need because a lot of people are gonna be biased to the ideals and things like that. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. Socialism is a done deal topic, but it's also a topic to learn that some societies have some principles, like you talk about the church and things like that. It's pretty much like you see what socialism has always been about, and it does have a form of utilitarianism too, where its real roots come from. Because I talk about that on my channel. If you want to delve into that, that breaks down how society works. That's why women have certain laws. It was predated for them to get laws like that. That was done by design. Them having rights and stuff that goes way back. This has been indoctrinated. I'm not saying women that don't have the right to work or anything. I'm just saying that's the culture that people lived under. So it's pretty much the same. Like, I'm not saying women don't have the right to do whatever. I'm just saying from the experience I've seen from this country, it's all programmed like that. Everything is programmed to you to live in this type of society. So it's done by design on purpose. See, they'll forget about me saying that, but it's the truth. It's not a red pill, blue pill thing. No, this has always been that way. And you see the corruptions in people. A lot of things going on. They talk about harassment and all that. See, these laws, they protect people, but they really don't protect people as much. But they have these liberal, equal to utilitarianism concepts holding everybody back. It's a continuation of more of the same. That's what you see around the world. So it's like I expect that from most people. So if you see it coming that way, you understand that most people be like, all right, that's what we're here for. Okay. First Amendment to the Constitution found in the Bill of Rights guarantees, I spoke on this a few times, guarantees the socialist policies or the laws do not infringe upon individual rights, such as freedom of expression. Here we go again. Let's read that back from the top. First Amendment to the Constitution found in the Bill of Rights guarantees the socialist policies or the laws do not infringe upon individual rights, such as freedom of expression, freedom of religion. Y'all heard this before: freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and worship. Here we go. Or abstention extension from freedom of the press. Here we go. The media, freedom of the press, freedom of peaceful assembly, and then freedom to petition. Government for a redress of grievances. These rights are not anti-socialist policies. Rather, they limit the power of the government's socialist actions to impact the lives and freedoms of individuals, not limited to citizens. See what I'm saying? Like, this country was founded based off that, but then it leans towards fascism. In the end, they try to take those rights away. See, this shows you where people's hearts and minds are. It's not conservative, man. It's not a conservative society. It's actually a liberal, utilitarian society. That's basically what I'm going to call it. And that's just what it is. And then they try to say it's black pill, someone try to say, but really it's blue pill. If you want to get technical, I call it blue pill utilitarianism. I'll break it down to y'all. I might do that as an outside stream or whatever. Then try to say it's black pill. You know, we'll see if they're gonna refute that. I wish someone would refute that. Virtually every last regulates the commerce and the useful natural resources in the United States and its territories is a socialist law. Whether on the oil company can drill for oil and the mining company can extract ones from national lands is decided by socialist laws that manage the community resources of the United States. National parks, federal roads and highways, and various special administration, including the Social Security, veterans and administrations are all the social service provided by the federal government. But the Food and Drug Administration, the Federal Communications Commission, the Securities and Exchange Commissions, and other similar regulatory bodies are also socialist service created by the federal government to oversee and regulate the use of the distribution of goods and wealth in this country. But the federal government also creates socialist institutions such as the Tennessee Valley Authority, TVA, of course, the United States Bureau of Reclamation, the USBR, and the other regional bodies and that manage dams and dikes and canals. They said dams and dikes and canals. Okay, not in a hateful way, but we ain't gonna get into that. Derogatory, what we call women like that. We don't care. But that's what it says right here in this article. Canals and okay, the managed dams and dikes and canals. Okay, mortgage guarantee, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Did it say Fannie? Yeah, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae or something like that, or Fannie. This deposit insurance institutions, the likes of the FDIC, FSLIC, and NCUA, all all oversee socialist monetary policies that provides homeowners. I've heard homeowners association, homeowners and banking system customers with the access to stable money and secure deposits. Federal Reserve, everybody hates the Federal Reserve. Well, it's created by your corrupt government, as always. You know, Federal Reserve is a central bank name to the second less socialist at the time when the socialist was highly controversial. Yeah, Federal Reserve, they try to say it's not American. Well, it's a reserve currency for a reason, but it's controlled by the people that put it there. So don't ask me. That's a government corporation slash what it is. But we ain't gonna get into Federal Reserve. That's a distraction to the fee. The Federal Reserve is a problem, like the rednecks like to pose, but they don't realize that's part of the government, you idiots. That's their little utilitarian bank to control you motherfuckers. But they so dumb, so slow. But let's continue. The state local governments build and operate port facilities for the recipe and shipments of goods and airports and highways and roads and canals and bridges and other facilities used in trade, travel, and commerce. They also establish and maintain parks and museums and schools and hospitals and public utilities for managing waste, electricity, water, and other resources. They're also no part of the American life and businesses that is not impacted by socialism, government regulation, or control of resources. Right. Socialism is meant to serve the common good. Uh oh. We just talked about it in the philosophy basics I just read earlier. We just talked about that, right? We just talked about that. We're just going to see what's going on here. So, you know what I'm saying? We look at things like that. We ain't going to press nothing over here, okay? And it's pretty much the same. Like we talked about it. I'm just being smooth right now. So here the coloration, but we're gonna get into it. Quit being silly, but let's see right quick. And that's just bottom line. And all right. Socialism meant to serve the common good. Okay, here we go. As with the capitalism, monarchalism. Yeah, it says monarchicalism or something like that, monarchalism, or how you want to pronounce it, and other forms of government and economics and socialism has both its proponents and critics. Every system can be used for good or evil. Let's read that again. Every system can be used for good or evil. American capitalism has contributed uh, heavily to property, uh, ecological disasters, political instability in foreign countries, organized crime, which is facts. I talked about that weeks and weeks ago. That's connection to what this topic was about in recent events here. Organized crime and more to modern America's history. Here we go. The mafia, of course, these clan-like gangs, bandits, you name it, street gangs. We ain't gonna get into that. That's a whole nother subject connection with this, and they allow shit like this to happen. And they say, and more. But American capitalism had also created jobs, provided health benefits, and provide support for education and nourished and most powerful economy in the world. Whether a government policy is socialist or not isn't as important as whether it helps or hurts people. Powerful, wealthy families have devoted untold resources to exploit and manipulate the majority of American workers for their own personal gains, and yet some of the most beloved philanthropists in history who've championed laws improving health and economic opportunity for the poor and the oppressed groups in the America and came from those same families. Government by its very nature, for its very purpose, is socialist to the core. But the purpose of good government is to manage the vital resources for the common good. Although some places individual liberty above the common good, a majority of people, both in the United States and throughout the world, prefer to live under socialist systems. Y'all hear that? Government by its very nature, for its very purpose, is socialist to the core. The purpose of the government is to manage vital resources for the common good, but although some people place individual liberty above the common good, a majority of people, both in the United States and throughout the world, prefer to live under socialist systems. And actually, they prefer to live in utilitarian society. That's most people. That's factual. I talked about the pros and cons of that. Y'all can watch that. It's old, breaks down what I'm saying right now, and it's basically a form of utilitarianism too, birth socialism as well. I talked about that as well. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Without the socialist communities throughout the United States would receive no, and when they are devastated by tornadoes and earthquakes, fires, floods, and hurricanes, any state or national leader who withholds aid from these communities is not defending the country against socialism, but rather is harming the common good. That's facts. He's becoming fascist and a capitalist himself, but we ain't gonna get into that. Yes, Virginia, the United States, is a socialist country. The good old US of A has always been socialist nation. No should no one should no one should feel shame or angry at the country's socialist programs and policies, which is true. Everybody wants to get rid of it and want to be fascists. That's these right wing idiots that want to be capitalists. Capitalism is dead. America's not capitalist. They're capitalists for corruption and fascism. There's no such thing as crony capitalism. I don't believe that. Capitalism is what it is, equals what? Fascism, end of the day. Conquest, military industrial complex. They use socialism and utilitarianism for economic buffer purposes, but practice very malicious um, capitalist fascist behaviors. But we ain't gonna get into that. Military industrial complex 101. I'm just speaking to y'all from that perspective. Okay. Socialism is a way for people to show their compassion, empathy for the less fortunate who need help in times of trouble. Yep, very liberal right there. Concept right here. Government systems and methods may not be perfect, but they are capable of acting on scales that cannot be matched by personal, non-profitable, charitable generosity. We always need the charitable organizations, but they cannot step into the void of create by irresponsible or bankrupt government that doesn't create the fulfilled socialist service. There's no need for government if it doesn't serve the needs of the people. So it's pretty much what you got here. Socialism and of its ilk. This is about the energy of Alabama Institute. That's the source I'm coming with, and I'm going to give you all this as well. That's where I'm reading from. That brings another piece of socialism, of course. So it's pretty much, I know people left the room, but shouts out to people that came through. I know this is going to be an hour, so don't mind me. Don't mind me. But shouts out, appreciate to everybody come through. And this is just a little piece of it. We're not done, so I'm just gonna see what's out here. Biden is becoming a socialist, a social democrat. Well, you're talking about him being a social conservative, liberal conservative, but he has the utilitarian economic leanings every now and then. He has to, and he's a conservative. He's a utilitarian capitalist. Let's just put it like that. And it's 2019. I read the article 2021. Let's see. American pros and cons. American socialism pros and cons. Okay. Here we go. The Britannica. Here we go. The Britannica. Here we go. The Britannica. Okay. Pro.com.org. Procon.org. Reliable, nonpartisan, empowering. This is nonpartisan politics right here. American socialism top 3 pros and cons. Let's see. Do I have the screen being big? Okay, good. I'm still here. Yeah, I know people are acting all well, so that's pretty much it. Okay. Socialism in the United States is an increasingly popular topic. Some argue that the country should actively move towards socialism to spur the socialist progress and greater equity, while others demand that the country prevent this by any all means necessary. This subject is often brought up in connections with universal health care, and free college education. Ideas that are socialist by definition or as a general warning against the leftist politics. See, it's a war with right and left. I ain't going to get into that. The far left, revolutionaries, but, they really don't exist, to be honest with you. But let's read this point. While some politicians openly promote socialism or socialist policies, Senator Bernie Sanders, he's one of them. He's a true leftist, not a liberal. And Representative of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example, others reject a socialist. Yeah, of course they're going to reject the socialist view. And label now Vice President Kamala Harris said she was not a democratic socialist during the 2020 presidential campaign. Of course, she's a capitalist. She's a conservative and she's a capitalist. She's on the other side of it, on the Democrat side. A lot of Democrats are conservatives. I try to tell y'all that they're not liberals. They're not socialists. They're utilitarian enough. That party's always going to be conservative and they're full of shit. Just like the Republican parties, they're fake conservatives on that side, but really they're a bunch of far leftists in rhino suits. But we ain't gonna get into that spiel. I talked about that a lot on this channel on the educational side and show y'all that they're full of shit. And that's the whole concept of me understanding that and the abilities to understand that how full of shit most people are when you talk about proper politics and things like that. So in that nature, you just got to be mindful that people are going to be full of shit all the time when they talk about socialism. While some opportunities, Bernie Sanders, blah, blah, blah. Okay. We read that part. Okay. Or invoke it was a dirty word that is a contrary to American ideals. But in 2019 State Union, President Trump stated the United States would never be a socialist country because we are born free and we will stay free. But the considering whether the United States should adopt socialism or at least more socialist policies, the relevant terms must first be defined. See, we're going to define socialism where I just talked about this. Socialism is an economic social policy which the public owns industry and products rather than private individuals, corporations, or corporations. I just mentioned that. Under socialism, the government controls most means of production, natural resources, among other industries, and everyone in the country is entitled to equitable share according to their contribution to society. Individual private ownership is encouraged. They still talk about that a little bit, just like what you see on YouTube. And political socialist countries tend to be multi-party with democratic means conservative elections. Currently, no country operates under 100% socialist policy. Denmark, Iceland, and Finland, and Norway and Sweden, while heavily socialist, all combine socialism with capitalism. See, they're not really socialists, they're a bunch of far right wing capitalist extremists. But we ain't gonna get into that. We don't give shits about these countries, but to be honest, mind you, that's the past. Capitalism in the United States' current economic model is a policy which private individuals and corporations control production that is guided through markets, not by the government. Capitalism is also called a free market economy or free enterprise economy. Capitalism functions on a private property, profit motive, and market competition. That's basically what it is. Politically, capitalist countries range from democracies, that means conservatism, to monarchies, to oligarchs, which is true. That's how they get rich. That's how the rich and secret societies birth capitalism. That's their religion. They birth all that. And, and dysposiums, or dysposiums in most Western countries are capitalist. Yeah, they are now. They still are, in some aspects. Most Western countries are still capitalist, even the old ancient Roman Empire. But they use socialism, liberalism, or utilitarianism or Epicureanism to build their foundations. But we ain't getting into that. Are capitalists, including the United States, Canada, and United Kingdom, and Switzerland, Australia, and New Zealand, also capitalists are Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, and United Arab Emirates. However, many of these countries, including the United States, have implemented socialist policies within their capitalist system. Yeah, see, they have a conservative capitalist system mixing with liberal system. They're liberal conservatives on 1 minute, and then they can go the other way, conservatism and liberalism, what I mentioned. Capitalist systems such as Social Security, here we go, minimum wages, energy subsidies. Yep. Here comes the big one everybody wants to talk about, communism. Communism is frequently used as synonym for socialist, and the exact difference between the two are heavily debated. One difference is that the communist provides everyone in the country with an equal share rather than the equitable share promised by socialism. Communism is commonly summarized by the Karl Marx slogan: "For each according to his ability, each according to his needs," and was believed by Marx to be the step beyond socialism, including private ownership is illegal in most communist countries. They sure are. That's why they don't last long. They belong in racist, right wing, elitist, fascistic societies that are ultra conservative. But conservatives is always in the middle. I don't think it's right wing. So people call it right wing conservatism. Well, it's on the right wing tip of it. Then once it gets out of its right wing, you're down in the danger zone. You're down in the danger zone. That's pretty much it. So you see this a lot, and then you expect people to come by and just expect us not know anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. That's how we see in societies and things like that nature. So communist countries tend to be led by own country elections, one party with that party. Frequently, military has significant political power. Historically, a secret police has also shared that power as the former Soviet Union, the largest communist country in history. Civil liberties such as freedom of the press, speech, and assembly, are publicly embraced but frequently limited in practice. That's facts. Often by force. Countries that are currently communists include China, Cuba, Laos, North Korea, and Vietnam. Worth nothing is something in the countries including Democratic Peoples of Republic. That's Republic, that's short for liberalism, and Democratic is short for liberal conservatism, or conservatism liberalism, as they would call it. So it's pretty much one and the same, different synopsis. I talked about this a lot. So again, you see this a lot, and we'll get into the pros and cons for a minute. So it's like you expect people to understand that concept is not nothing new. Okay, okay, okay. Politically communist countries of applied threat by Vietnam were the country's Democratic Republic of North Korea and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam labeled themselves as democratic or socialist, though they meet the definition of communism, and Iran are run by communist parties. Additionally, some communist countries, such as China and Vietnam, operate with a partial free market economics, which is a cornerstone of capitalism. So technically, they're capitalists. They pretend they're communists, but they're not. They're capitalists. And when Mao Zedong passed away, they went strictly capitalist because of American ideals and things like that nature. Some socialist policies give those definitions. Should the United States adopt more socialist policies such as free college, Medicare for all, and the Green New Deal? That's their little thing. Okay. We don't get into questionnaires, and that's just basically what it is. So we're gonna get it. We're gonna get into the formalities for a minute. So it's pretty much it. So let me step away real quick. I'll be right back. So we'll go into the means of socialism, things like that. I know I was kind of late earlier, but I gotta step away real quick. I'll be right back. Oh, dang. I was on mute the whole time. Oh, man. Oh, man. I apologize. I was on mute the whole time. Damn. But, anyways, I was saying to myself, I was like, the pros and cons. I was reading it to myself about the economics. But con one, USR had too many social entitlements. Yes. Estimates the Democratic, of course. And, it is pretty much so, you know, damn, I was on mute. I'm sorry, y'all. I ain't gonna read that again, but I'm just gonna let y'all have that. So, I read the rest. It's self-explanatory. Socialism is what it is, and capitalism what it is or whatnot. It is just pretty much one and the same. So, if y'all want to check these links out, pretty much it's all good. It's all good, and you can read the pros and cons there. So it's pretty much like damn. I don't know if I was on mute. I have to go back and listen on the playback. But apologize, y'all. Damn. I don't know if I was on mute, but let me step away real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm back. But it's pretty much it. So yeah, let me get this charged up. Turn my clearness off. Yeah, I'm back with it again. But yeah, man, it's what it is, man. Like I talk about it, and I was probably mute on those minutes. My apologies, y'all. But what I was saying to myself, I was like saying, it's pretty much it, like the pros and cons of it, and you see it. And I don't know if I was on mute that long, and I was like, oh my god, kind of fucked up. I apologize for y'all, but hey, it gets some views. But we'll be talking about something else tomorrow, so it's like we got to catch up on the bullshit Thursday. Thursday thrills is kind of crazy, but I'll speak what last week's pineapple show, what it was about, and get my thoughts on it, and talk about certain individuals, and Melly be tripping. We got to talk about old girl with the tattoo. Her name is obvious, and she had a female there, but she didn't want no date. We're gonna talk about that. That was the only screenshot I got. But but that's it. But I don't know what's going on tonight. I don't know what's going on tonight. I don't know what's going on tonight. Yeah, I'm just looking at something, but don't pay me no mind. But yeah, it's an hour, but we're gonna go in. At least I got some views off of it. I'm gonna see what's going on here. Let's see what old girl here. I'll let y'all know. I gotta see some shit. Yeah, I'll listen to it. His name is Musa. Okay. Yeah, I got some to be entertained too. Yeah. We'll see if she's gonna act all right. We gotta talk about old girl. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all coming through. Appreciate Leticia coming through. And who else came through? Mike, Degenerate, Toya, the Texan herself. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. But if y'all listen to this on the playback, it's just our thing. So with that, I'm gonna say peace and shalom, and I'm out. Thursday Thrills, I believe is the 38 or is it 28 or 38 or something like that, or the 28th or something like that. Let me see something real quick. Let me see something about Thursday Thrills. Okay, let me get through Thursday Thrills for a minute. Because next week I'm gonna schedule independent thinking series, and it's gonna be in the afternoon. I'm gonna be talking. So okay, so Thursday Thrills 32, I believe. 32. 32. Thursday Thrills 32. Thursday Thrills 32. So let's see the live. Save the playlist. Thrills done. There we go. All right. So with another one in the books. I don't know what political topic I'll talk next, but I'll break down some more in the future. So with that,